Holding a meeting ahead of planned 3 days of countrywide protest. We have a live report. Former Devolution Principal Secretary Lillian Omolo was not in office when NYS procurements were done. Court finds her innocent. And televangelist Gilbert Dare of Miracle Babies saga acquitted of child trafficking charges due to insufficient evidence. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin from the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation, where Azimio coalition has just concluded their parliamentary group meeting. Let's cross over live and listen in.
Introduce the cost of living. But they could not point to any such efforts. If there's an effort to lower the cost of living, Kenyans will notice it. And Kenya Kwanza would not need to be explaining itself or struggling to explain itself. The truth is, there are no such efforts to lower the cost of living. How can raising of taxes on fuel from 8 to 16% be classified as an effort to lower the cost of living? Now, Kenya Kwanza is telling us that the government has hired some 55,000 teachers. Now, so what? That isn't a favor. They are supposed to be hiring teachers anyway. But they are missing the point. People eat food, and people want food. Even the teachers they are crying about, even the teachers are crying about the cost of living and high taxes and low salaries. Hiring teachers doesn't reduce the cost of living. What is the point in hiring a teacher, then taking away his entire salary through taxes? What is the point in hiring workers and turning them into slaves? We encourage Kenya Kwanza to move past generalities of constantly reminding Kenyans that Kenya Kwanza is a legitimately elected government. People want food. People don't eat government. Legitimate or illegitimate. Yeah. Give them food and they leave the streets. Yes. Yeah. The legitimacy or credibility of any government is seen in the way it governs and it treats people. If a regime is a failure, like Kenya Kwanza is, it does not matter how legitimate or otherwise it is, because people simply want food. Now, Kenya Kwanza is talking about the Hustler Fund and the plan to roll out the next phase and so on and so forth. Now, Kenya has never had a shortage of funds, like youth fund, women fund, and you can count them. And yet again, people don't eat funds, you know. People eat food. And people don't eat in faces. Yes, people eat today, okay? And every day. So don't tell Kenyans about Hustler Fund at its next phase. Just tell Kenyans how food will be affordable now, today. And they will leave the streets. Otherwise, if you don't do that, be ready to face these people in the streets for as long as it will take. Hire your militia, as many as you want to hire, but the people will not leave the streets. Namna hiyo? Yes. So I think I want to leave it at that point and ask my brother, the Honorable Leader, Senator Mazayo, to continue.
Yes. Sorry. I'll continue from where my brother Opio has left. We do not understand Kenya Kwanza's obsession with saying and doing what Kenyans have not asked for. As far as we know, Kenyans have never asked for funds to be launched. Kenyans have specifically asked for the cost of goods to come down and taxes to be reduced. But Kenya Kwanza is talking about deficit and funds. We have seen Kenya Kwanza resorting to the tired and bigoted phrases like "lord of violence." It won't work. People don't care. All that the people want is food. And decent standard of living. If Kenya Kwanza has a price of peace, has a prince of peace who can't provide food, no amount of character assassination of his challenger will sway Kenyans. People want food. We have seen Kenya Kwanza purport to be sharing with Kenyans the Right Honorable Raila Odinga's political history. How ridiculous can they get? We now challenge the same members of parliament to share with us the political history of William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua from 1990 to date. They started it. Let them go to the full length. We take note that the Kenya Kwanza MPs have threatened to mobilize their supporters to counter protesters whom they believe are supporters of Azimio. Again, Kenya Kwanza is missing the point and getting it wrong. The thousands of Kenyans turning up for protests are not just Azimio supporters. They are Kenyans from across all political and non-political formations who have been brought together by suffering.
Right, and those are Azimio leaders addressing the media after their parliamentary group